Hello everyone, welcome back to YK Reviews. For today's video, it's going to be the follow-up to the Curse of Chucky, the Cult of Chucky, so let's get into it. Now with the Cult of Chucky, it's a follow-up to the Curse of Chucky, and it's essentially the final movie of the franchise before the reboot in 2019. And so we start off with the opening sequences, and for this one it's so much better than the Curse of Chucky's opening sequences. Like, you get what you follow up from the post-credit scene of the previous movies. You see Andy basically torturing Chucky. He's basically just got him as a head, and he's just been torturing him for the last 4 years. So it was so fun seeing that little like back and forth between Andy and Chucky, seeing him just torture the hell out of him. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and it was a perfect opening sequence. But as the movie gets going, you see that Nika's been in this institute. She's starting to come to realize that maybe she was the one that's committed the murder and she was responsible for it. So I really like what they were doing with Nika's character. I like the character arc from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. Now that she's in this mental institute, you get introduced to these other characters, which I'll be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of. You've got the male character who's got these multiple personalities. You've got this character called Madeline, who Chucky does get eventually infiltrate this institute. So you've got Madeline basically thinking that these dolls are her children. You've got a character called Claire who just doesn't believe a word anybody is saying. These characters just, I don't know, for me just weren't as likable as I'm guessing other people feel about them. For me, they weren't as likable. So then you've got this group session where this doctor is trying to do this group therapy session, trying to get Nika to realize that she was in the wrong, or that she is the one responsible. Chucky isn't alive basically. But what I feel really helps this movie, really picks up this movie, is once Tiffany basically tells Nika that Alice is dead, that she was her guardian, and she wanted Alice to give Nika the doll, which is Chucky. And so I really liked how they managed to sneak Chucky into the institute. So once Chucky is in the institute, you've got the group session where you've got different ways of trying to convince Nika that Chucky isn't alive. There's one point where they're trying to burn his hands to try and get a reaction out of him. And again, you've got Madeline holding Chucky, acting as if it's a child. So eventually, once Chucky does come to life and starts killing off everybody, I really liked what they did with that. The kills in this movie were so much better than the one in the previous movie, despite the one-liners that Chucky had in the previous movie. For example, that Claire character, where she does eventually realize that Chucky is real. They put her in this, they strap her down, and so Chucky gets out this oxygen tank, blasts it to the ceiling, glass comes down and just decapitates her. That was such a brutal scene. And then you get to Madeline's character. Madeline basically realized, because you have her backstory of what she did and how she got there, and so eventually she allows Chucky to kill her. Chucky literally shoves his hand into her mouth and just kills her off like that. You've got different Chucky's now being brought into the institute, because you've got that little side plot of Andy trying to get into the institute, because he knows that Chucky's still out there. So he tries to he eventually realizes that the Chucky he's got is just one aspect of it, and that he finds out there's another Chucky. So he has to go and try and stop them. He has to try and get into the mental institution. And then there's that little subplot with the doctor and Nika. You come to find out that the doctor's hypnotizing Nika and basically sexually assaulting her. I just found that really disturbing and really messed up. And that little subplot where he makes her put on shoes and do all of that stuff, but Chucky eventually knocks him out, and he thinks it was Nika. He'll let that go to be able to do more messed up things to her. That was just a really dark alleyway to go down. But then eventually, as you get to the end of the second act towards the third act, The one little criticism I have of this movie is the explanation of how all these Chuckies, because now you've got multiple different Chucky dolls alive, essentially becoming the cult of Chucky. But I hate the explanation of where they found a voodoo ritual online and performed it on Alice, who became the host, but then she eventually died and the souls were like split into like different other Chuckies. I hate it. I hate that explanation, because like in Child's Play 1, you've got the voodoo person, like this person who like does voodoo and stuff like that, teach Charles this ritual, and now it's basically a ritual you can just find on the internet. I just really didn't like that explanation. That's like one of the nitpicks and like criticisms I have of this movie. But once like it gets towards that third act, you get like these characters like dying off one by one. You've got like I mentioned, like that Claire character, you've got Madeline's character, you've got like the nurse, the male nurse gets killed off, and then you come to realize that Nika like sees Chucky. She's like, what I really liked about this sequence in the scene is like she's like tied up in this straitjacket, and Chucky basically transfers his soul to her after like knocking out the doctor and basically convincing her of like what a bad person he is, like the little conversation that they have. And then once he transfers his soul to Nika, her using the shoe that the doctor gave her to just stamp on his head and just kill him off was just like a brutal, gruesome kill. And so now that Nika is now got Chucky's like soul inside her, Andy does eventually get into like the mental institute, and he kills one of the Chuckies by hiding like a gun inside one of the Chuckies, and he kills that one. But then Nika eventually, like, you have Andy with the gun trying to shoot Nika, only to find out that he's run out of ammunition. Nika basically locks him inside, and then you get to like the final sequences where Tiffany is waiting outside for Nika only just before she killed a guard. So you've got Tiffany waiting for like Nika outside. Nika is like able to walk now because she's got Charles Lee Ray's soul inside her. And so you've got basically the ending of the movie. You've got Tiffany the doll in the backseat, you've got Tiffany the Jennifer Tilly human person in the driver's seat, and now you've got Nika who's got Charles Lee Ray's soul inside her, all of them in the car as they drive off. I really liked that sequences. There was a lot of like issues with pacing of the movie and like some of the side characters and the explanation in itself, but overall I really liked what they did with this. I liked, because of the whole previous movie and like Nika's backstory and then her story arc in this movie, I really liked what they did. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and I really like what they did with it, and I hope like that they have more to come with this in the TV series and future movies. Like I really love what they were doing with like this movie in particular and how they ended it. Like you have so much potential, so much roadmap to use and to go down. So this movie was definitely a better follow-up to the Curse of Chucky. The post-credit scene with Kyle being brought back, torturing the head of Chucky even more for Andy, was a really nice touch. It was so nice to see her coming back. So overall with this movie, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly thought it was a great movie, and one that I definitely think is a good watch. If you haven't seen it, I would watch The Curse of Chucky first, but like get through the second half so that you can like understand everything, and then eventually watch The Cult of Chucky, because it was fantastic. I wouldn't say up as like top tier level movie, but it's definitely a great movie to watch. So definitely check it out if you get the chance. And if you have seen it, let me know down in the comment section below what you thought about it, what you thought about the movie and like the Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, 2 movies in particular. Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. I have one more video of the review for the movie franchise of Chucky with Child's Play 2019, so keep an eye out on the channel for that video there. And also, once again, there'll be so much more horror type movies coming up in the next couple of weeks there, so definitely keep an eye out on the channel there. And also, if you haven't already, I have got a Twitter, link is in the description down below. Go ahead, go follow me on Twitter so that you can get all the latest info, all the latest news of when I post, and my thoughts on everything in general here. But thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for listening. This is YK Reviews. Peace.